My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where our fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped mountains of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and every molehill in Mississippi. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And when this happens, and when we allow freedom to ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day with all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics. We'll be able to join hands in the words of that old Negro spiritual. Free at last, free at last, thank God already, we're free at last.
So I have another opportunity here this morning to have my lovely daughter, my only child, daughter, to sing a song as we bring up Pastor Kokai and Mother Mary R. Kokai. Come follow.
Change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
The director over there, which is a dear friend of mine, Brother Johnson, he said, I want to partake in this. And he said, I want to be able to honor Kove for the great work he does. He said, so I want to do it in a tandem, in a partnership with you guys this morning. So I said, fine. So he sent his person, and the president of the board of UAAMAC, if y'all would come on up, Brother Dawson. Brother Dawson, come around this way. Y'all got to put both hands on it. Put both hands on it this morning. And if you guys would present that to Kove, that would be great.
On behalf of the Neighborhood House Association, our Board of Directors, one of them which is here, Walter Lamb, and on behalf of our President and CEO, Rudolph A. Johnson III, who could not be here today, also our 800 employees and the 22,000 families that we serve in the San Diego community, we'd like to say congratulations.
Just a word, we're moving on, but we want to take just a moment to say thank you and to thank, when I met him, his name was Art. Now it's got higher, because he's grown some time. We have spent some time together. We've argued and fought together. However, now he's sitting down and we're trying to carry on. And I just want to thank him for the time that I was able to spend with him and the things that I learned from him. However, we are putting handcuffs on he and the rest of us because we got on time. But he must have a word to say. I'm sure he do. If he did, he would probably go sick.
See how they do? They can't even follow the script. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Dawson. That's all right. I'm going to get some better. Okay, thank you. Okay, where's our councilman at? Where's our councilman? Come on down, Councilman Young. You can stay right here. Come on, Councilman Young want to make a statement here.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here today. Bishop, you know how much I appreciate your wisdom and your mentorship to me. And because of that, we created this special commendation presented to both you and your beautiful wife. And it says in recognition of many years of consistency, dedication, and persistence in serving the people of San Diego, thank you for being a role model of excellence in your service to our community. Your passion for helping others and giving back to those in need is uniquely special and greatly appreciated. And on behalf of Council District 4 and the City of San Diego, we thank you for your outstanding contributions, commitment, and support. Best wishes for your future success. Signed by myself, Tony Young. God bless you.
Here, this is just a small token for you, Bishop. This is just the book itself, so you'll always remember that we honored you on the 17th anniversary of the MLK breakfast, in which you was part of getting organized many years ago.
Okay, we got one more to go. We're going to keep moving here. Zimmerman Block, would you come up, please?
Hey, I've gotten to know this gentleman and his wife over the last several years, and you know, Gerald, your testimony was so moving, but a lot of us in this room love this man and love what he's done. And Robbie asked me to keep this short, and it's hard to do when you're talking about Bishop Kakaye, but you know, after hearing your daughter's beautiful voice, I'm not going to try to compete up here. I have the honor, the true honor of presenting to Reverend Kakaye a resolution, now Bishop Kakaye, a resolution from the California State Assembly, not just signed by your local assembly members, Ben Hueso, Tony Atkins, Nathan Fletcher, myself, but also signed by the Speaker of the Assembly, John Perez, because this isn't just a local tribute. The entire state of California knows and appreciates the work of Bishop Kakaye, the fact that he has made this a beloved community, and the fact that on this day, more than any other, he has kept in San Diego the dream alive. Bishop Kakaye.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Well, it was bad enough that I had to buy a ticket. They had no parking spot for me. And then they're going to send me back to my seat and not even allow me to say thank you. But I do, and I recognize about the time, but I do want to say thank you to all of you, to each of you for getting up and coming out. I want to thank both friends and foe. I thank my friends for supporting me. I thank my enemies for opposing me, for the opposition made me strong. And you aren't doing anything if you don't have any enemies. So, and even when your enemies come to honor you, it's a good thing. To thank you, I want to encourage you. I want you to continue to love one another. And I want you to understand that loving each other is caring and sharing. Caring about one another and sharing with each other. The beloved community is yet possible for each of us, but we must want it. And when we want it enough, we'll have it. Now, on such an occasion as this, I think I would be remiss. I don't know. I'll probably never get anything like this again until there's a funeral, and I've already said that for me, I don't want a funeral. And I don't say this in a morbid sense, but every now and then I get homesick. And you come to do a work, and then it's time to go. And I think that my work is just basically about done. I thank my wife for some 52 years. My son-in-law reminded me today when they were talking about being a founder. He said that when people start saying that you're a founder of something, they're really saying you're old. But I think I want to thank some people. I don't want to start calling any names because I'll miss somebody and then you think I did that deliberately, and it's just due to not being able to remember. But I do remember some larger names that I want to call in this honoring of myself and Mother Kakaye. I want to thank the members and the supporters of the Black Panther Party. I want to thank the members and supporters of CORE and SNCC, because if we can't call those names on an occasion like this, when and where will we call them? People who stood for right and righteousness. For the Organization of United Slaves, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of the people who have ever stood for that which was right. Now, you saw the quote. My whole life, I think, is summarized in it for you and for the future. If we would but change our minds. For when we change our minds, we will change the way we think. When we change the way we think, we will change our behavior. And when we change our behavior, we will change our life. And when we change our life, we will change this world. Our Lord said it best. He said, to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's what being born again, that's what this whole concept of regeneration is all about. It's being made new. And so we have to look at the way we look at ourselves, the way we look at each other. We got to make that new. And when we do, we will become closer to being what God has sent all of us to be and to do. To be able to show His love. To allow His light to shine brightly in us and to make of this place a better place for all of us. God bless you. God bless America. And please, God, bless this world.
Yes, He will. Yes, He will. I tried Him and I know He will. Yes, He will. Oh, I know the Lord will make a way. Yes, He will. Yes, He will. Yes, He will. He will make a way for you. I know He'll see you. He'll see you safely through. I know the Lord will make a way. Oh, yes, He will. Yes, He will. Yes, He will.
Reverend Gerald Brown, who's the director for UAAMAC, and Brother Robert Robinson, the director of Resources Development. We honor all of the public servants and elected officials who serve us so nobly here. We are very happy to see the large number of pastors and those who are concerned about the spiritual health of the community. Serve unselfishly to improve the quality of life for all of the people of this region. And I would not fail to honor all of those who are here, who were involved in the civil rights movement. I know that many here had not yet discovered America. You were just gleams in the eyes of some of the future father that was responsible for the forthcoming. But I want to honor all of those who were involved in the civil rights movement who are here, and those who were not here. It is worth noting that Congressman Fielder was one of the Freedom Riders and went to jail. honor those who were involved in San Diego. Some are no longer with us. Reverend George Stevens. Some are still with us. Reverend George Smith and Harold Brown. And so many others that time will not permit me to call your name. This is a time to remember and to express appreciation for those who made sacrifice and who committed themselves to the cause of righteousness and justice. It's my privilege to have a few words regarding the one who has brought us together here today. I would be careful to say that the participants in the program this morning have created an atmosphere where we've been able to relive some of the emotions that we experienced in the 50s and 60s. And I think that I can dismiss at least a half of my speech up here today, because so much has been covered with competence. It was my privilege to meet Dr. Martin Luther King for the first time on June 15th, 1960. You asked me how I remember the date. It was my third wedding anniversary, and we made a decision to go to the Calvary Baptist Church to hear Dr. King rather than to go out on town and celebrate. It was a wise decision, for after his moving speech, we went up and met him, and we became involved from that moment on in a very real way in the civil rights movement. It was such a privilege to be involved with ministers and people of goodwill from many ethnicities during that turbulent season. People from many religious backgrounds heeded the call to come join the fight for justice, freedom, and for equality. It was no accident that Martin Luther King was the drum major, the leader of the movement. He had been prepared by the grace of God to fulfill that role with dignity, honor, and passion. We all know the story about his upbringing. In the home of a great pastor, his father, Daddy King, who served at the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. His grandfather and his great-grandfathers were all preachers of the gospel. He was nurtured in the youth programs and the activities at Ebenezer. His father made sure that he was able to meet the great preachers, philosophers, and the shapers of ideas of that era. So at a very early age, he was aware of his calling to be a minister of the gospel. He seemed to have been a young man in a hurry, finishing high school early and entering college, 15 or 16 at Morehouse, a great school. And after completing college, entered the seminary, Crozier Seminary in Pennsylvania for a 3-year Master's of Divinity degree. And then he went on to Boston for his graduate studies for the PhD. There were some men who deeply influenced him, who contributed to his spiritual formation. I need some water up here. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm nervous. I've just been preaching since 1947. Thank you. There were men who contributed to his spiritual formation. Men like Benjamin Mays, who served for more than 25 years as the president of Morehouse College, who inspired young men to pursue excellence and to do their very best and to do it now. He was inspired by W.E.B. Du Bois, who was concerned about identifying the talented 10th and encouraging them to be leaders in the society and in the world. He was influenced by Booker Washington, Frederick Douglass, and the great men and women who had struggled with the same issues that he had to confront and to struggle with. Upon completion of his studies at Boston, he was called to pastor a church in Alabama. Interesting story about that church. The pastor there, Martin's predecessor, was a powerful Baptist preacher named Vernon Johns. Vernon Johns was unorthodox. He had an unusually keen mind. He was a wonderful orator. He was a thinker. But he didn't fit into the category of the middle classness that existed among the black intelligentsia in the city in Alabama. He was different. He wanted the choir to sing some Negro spirituals, and the choir wanted to sing songs from the Eurocentric culture. He wanted the choir to have some soul, and there was conflict with the choir. He really upset his congregation when he brought a load of watermelons to the church on Sunday morning and sold watermelons from the front door after he had preached a powerful message. So the congregation decided to get rid of Vernon Johns and bring on a young intellectual orator from Boston, and they brought Martin Luther King in to calm things down and to fit into the middle classness of that middle class congregation. They were surprised when they discovered that they had hired a radical. When Rosa Parks, and it was good to see her portrayed here today, was arrested, and the people of Montgomery decided that they needed a minister to lead the movement. There were persons there who were educated. There were lawyers and doctors, and laymen, but they wanted someone who could be the spokesperson for the movement. And they selected Martin Luther King to be that spokesperson. And what a spokesperson he was. He had an unusual ability to articulate what common folk were thinking. People would be in the congregation or in the audience where he would speak, all ethnic and educational background, but they would all agree that he said exactly what I'm thinking. I just couldn't put it like that, but he captured my thoughts and articulated those thoughts in a way that made me proud. I've got a spokesman here. As the leader of the movement in that city with the bus boycott, we all know the story of how people began to cause the pocketbooks of those who were the financial gurus of that community to begin to feel the effects of the boycott, and they began to get some concessions, and the boycott continued until the kind of response that was needed was felt. The movement picked up momentum. It was not just limited to Alabama, but there were those in Georgia and Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana, and California, who were struggling with the issues of injustice in housing, inequality in employment, going to the back of the bus and transportation, unequal access to health care, discrimination in the courts. And the problems went on, and it was not just an Alabama or Southern problem. It was a national problem because racism is systemic and affects people all over the nation. And so King, having been trained and having the ability to communicate with people of all ethnicities and religious backgrounds, he was able to mobilize people of goodwill all over the nation. It is important to note that his was a difficult role to fulfill. Not everybody believed all of the ideas and the attitudes that Martin held dearly. Martin's thinking was global. He had a sense of the universal. He had spent time as a student of the Bible, learning the teachings of Jesus and the social prophets of Israel from the 7th and 8th century. He had been influenced by the writings of Micah, who had said, "Let justice roll down like water, and let righteousness be like a mighty stream all over the land." He had listened deeply to the sayings of Isaiah, the great prophet, who said that every mountain and hill shall be brought low, and every valley shall be exalted, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places shall be made smooth. And Isaiah wasn't talking about the UAAMAC mountains. He was talking about the mountains of racism, and the mountains of prejudice, and the mountains of discrimination, and the mountains of the cheapening of human life. And the crooked will be made straight. And this thinking had changed Martin's attitude about his role. He was not content just to be a black preacher in the South. He became involved in global issues. He was involved because he had not only studied and had been informed and shaped by biblical truth, but he came across philosophers like Thoreau, who had proclaimed that nonviolence will accomplish more than a violent confrontation. He heard about Gandhi and the movement in India of nonviolence that successfully overthrew the powerful stranglehold of the British Empire. And they did it without guns. They did it with soul force, with the power of truth. And King was convinced that in this country, the black community were to rise up and attempt to confront the power structure with slingshots, rocks, against machine guns and tanks, that there would have been a bloodbath, slaughtering in this nation unmatched in our history. There were those within the camp, within the movement, who felt that non-violence just didn't make any sense. And King said, neither does a violent approach make any sense. And so he was shaped by the thinking of philosophers, theologians, and religious men of a number of ages. He was prepared for the task. His spiritual formation was clear. His job description was clear. And he went about his work with enthusiasm and with devotion. King was a family man. Married to Coretta, and therefore they had 4 children together. And we often think about the kind of sacrifice that he made to be involved in the movement when there was such a call for him to be with his 4 children and his lovely wife. But the call of God and of the suffering of the people was upon him. To remember him appropriately, it is well for us to look at several of the themes that permeated his life's work. It is important to note that at the top of the list of the themes that King addressed was the theme of justice and righteousness. Justice and righteousness were issues and ideas that motivated him, that kept him on focus. And for King, justice was a question of who owns what. He believed that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and that since God owns everything, that everything everybody else has, everyone has been entrusted into our hands by God, and that we are accountable to him for how we exercise stewardship over that which has been entrusted into our hands. In other words, a judge is not a judge because he merits or deserves being a judge. He's been entrusted with that powerful position, and he must be just in the rendering of judgment, or he must give an account to God, who is the judge of all the earth. That teachers must be responsible for teaching truth, because they are not the source of that truth, but God is the source of all truth. Justice is a question of who owns what. The banker does not own the wealth, and the riches of the world do not belong to the wealthy or the greedy or to the needy. The wealth of the world belongs to God, and he entrusted it in the hands of people to be used for God's glory and for the good of all. So King's theme about justice and righteousness led him to believe that wherever there was inequity before the law, there was need for the voice of God to proclaim truth. Wherever there was inequality in education, in housing, in transportation, in employment, in the distribution of wealth, in the devaluing of life, Justice and righteousness demanded that a biblical perspective be taken in these areas. The second thing that King wrestled with was the theme of nonviolence as a means of handling conflict. We all know that there are probably three ways to deal with conflict, and I'll move quickly. One way is when you have been injured or insulted or hurt, or you entered into conflict, find out who causes it, and retaliate. The law of lex talionis. If you've been hurt, you hurt the one who hurt you. You killed my dog, I killed your cat. It's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And King told us clearly that if we subscribe to that philosophy, we would have a toothless society and a blind generation.